Yahoo! Gertrude here. And I disturb your sleep. We're almost out of Pocari Sweat. If you guys have a chance, check out the previous video on the Basic 3. That is the latest $29 machined aluminum pen. Yes, only $29 from Everyday Keras. They're trying to bring nice pens to basically anyone and everyone. And I think their latest design is really, really nice. With that, though, I had to do some shopping. Went to get groceries and, of course, came back with some other stuff. Well, first off, I had actually picked up groceries that we'd already ordered, which, yeah, I forgot to add some things to it, so I had to run back in afterwards. Of course, yeah. Of course, that is what happens, right? Let's finish this guy off. Just a reminder, we do have links down below the video for things that are included. I don't know if anything relevant will be in this video. But for the videos that don't have relevant links, what do you guys want to see? Should I have Pocari Sweat in there? Do you want tub towels? And what are these common things that you see me using and drinking every day? Yeah, it's toothpaste. That's right. Oh, what's that? Okay, more toothpaste. And then this is what I finally took the time to get. Toothpaste smells so minty. I don't know if toothpaste. This is the I use Pronamel. Sensodyne Pronamel. Because when you have acid reflux, that eats all the enamel off your teeth. However, I really don't care what flavor I get for this. This is like the portable one, the 3-ounce one, sub 3-ounce one that you can take on a plane. You know, that's enough for a bit. I just happen to use all mine up at the anime convention. Here's my issue, though. The flavor I like, no longer made, or at least sold at Walmart. I like cleansing mint. This was the closest they had. The cap on it looks very, very, very similar. And it is not one that I noted as being different previously. Another one of the things, though, that I have used cleansing mint, Pronamel, Sensodyne Pronamel, for, intensive enamel repair. If you got your acid reflux and you don't have this, highly recommend it. This is one of the things, though, that they say, like, don't use for more than 2 weeks without talking to your dentist or something. Or here, 4 weeks on this. In this case, my dentist was the one that told me to, hey, bro, you got to fix your enamel. Still hasn't fixed it. Neither has a bunch of other stuff. But that's, that's gastrointestinal issues, not that sort of stuff. But yeah, cleansing mint, gone. Hopefully clean mint, because I had a tube in between there that was disgusting. It had a white cap on it. This is like a blue one, and there's like a bluish green one that's like kind of close to the cleansing mint, but this one definitely has the blue cap again. And it says clean mint. That's close. And I know I need the enamel repair, so I gotta pick within my bounds. But if anybody knows, like, I didn't find anybody specifically calling out that cleansing mint was gone. Because, like, lately I can go on there and be like, yeah, you can't pick up Topo Chico at Costco anymore. Or, yeah, What's that coffee I drink? I forget now. Brain fart. But you may have seen it in my videos. I'm trying to think. It's the one that has political issues with it. Black Rifle Coffee. There you go. I mean, and what's kind of odd is it sold before those political issues were political issues. But yeah, they changed the like what constitutes coffee. Basically, used to be 100% Arabica beans. That's not on there anymore. It used to be gluten-free. Not on there anymore. Not that matters. But then they switched the sweetener to sucralose from cane sugar. Tastes like ass. Which sucks. Because around that same time as well, I liked the Starbucks Nitro Cold Brew sweet cream. Gone. There's sweet vanilla cream. It's fine. Sweet cream, much preferred. But all the flavors of the Nitro Cold Brew, besides the black and the sweet vanilla cream, gone. Even in physical Starbucks, like if you have them make it for you. So basically, within weeks, 2 coffees I drank, I had to find replacements for. And those were the 2 coffees. Like I drank one or the other one. Sad day. So this was something else I picked up, though, while I was out at Walmart. Just perusing since I was back sort of here. And I was waiting for a person. So this I actually wanted some of these because I kind of have misused them. Not these. Picks. These replace picks as pry bars. You should not use a pick as a pry bar. They're not strong enough. They will bend. They will break, etc. I may have gotten used to using picks lately because I finally have a nice set from Icon. Might have been... Well, Paisley just showed up. For those that don't know, that's her bag. Paisley, is that your bag? Yeah? Is that your bag? That's a tied up Walmart bag for those wondering. There's 2 of them around here. We tie them up like this so they take less room. Learned that from a Japanese homestay we had. Yeah, look at the cuteness. You must see the cuteness. Yeah, now you're gonna play that by my exposed skin on my feet. I'm not regretting that at all. But she found those one day and stole them because we keep like a bag of bags for those from Midwest. Yeah, bag of bags. Okay, that's a thing. And specifically we tie ours up like that so they take up less room. You can fit more bags in the bag of bags. But she fished them out. And ever since then, her favorite #1 toy is her bag. And as you can see, it looks pretty sorry because she has the claws. And we've proven recently that that's from the first video we shot tonight. And that's from yesterday that I didn't clean out. Use alcohol, like real alcohol, and ideally a brush, and go at it. Otherwise, it becomes all puffy like that. That's even after taking a shower. Hey, you can't play bags on me. This is not acceptable. Okay, I will throw the bag. The downside is also she doesn't want to give you she wants you to throw the bag. She'll play fetch with it. I played fetch through entire movies. Especially that first time when she found it. Jeez. She'd bring it up to my armrest, put it down, I'd throw it. And that would go on for 180 minutes or whatever. Or 80 minutes. But I was getting to this where I have recently noticed I've been using my picks as pry bars. These feel super cheesy. These are made in the US. Made in USA. I don't know how far the the metal actually goes. I don't have a strong enough magnet. I don't think. Yeah, do you have a stronger magnet, Paisley? Huh? But these will have to do. They seem halfway decent because they are made in the USA. Apparently all the Hyper Tough pry bars are made in the USA. I thought they might be made by like a Lyle or somebody. They're not. Or not Lyle. What's the other one I have the pry driver from? But the handle is different. This straight one feels better than this angled one. And it might be because there's more weight out here, right? Because though it's the same length, that's with a bend in it, right? So that means there's actually more metal past the handle. As far as I could tell, Icon doesn't make a set of mini pry bars. I actually quite like the... What you doing? Quite like the, or maybe it's just because that's what I'm used to at the moment, is the picks. They actually give you like one more finger of grip than these would. Like this guy would actually be on here proper. They have a little contouring. I actually like the picks. I've seen people complain about the handles on the Icon pick set. I at least lately with me using them, I've been quite happy with it. You know, saw these though, and I mean, like, okay, I can bend it. It doesn't stay bent. Basically, you should be, if you have like a pocket screwdriver and using that for like popping clips and stuff like that, maybe consider picking up a set of pocket pry bars. I believe Matco is very well known for theirs. I know Snap-on has some, like all the brands like have them now. I just happened to see these in Walmart for like a couple bucks. Like they were literally $8 for the two. Okay. Paisley's gonna get stuck in a plastic bag. I can hear her. And they're made in the USA, so they can't be too shoddy. Like a lot of pry bars are made here, usually good quality. This one just feels a little. I don't know how deep the pry bar goes in here, and I've seen people test that with magnets. I don't know that any, because they use pretty chonky stonky gaps. Like even this guy on the bottom of here. Okay, so maybe about there. So what's that? 2/3 of the way through the grip. That's for sure there. Yes. It pulls it back. So no, yes. Maybe about halfway through the grip. I think that's pretty average. I think those Icon picks are in a similar, similar range. Weight-wise, though, this one, the angle guy is definitely tip heavy. That's where like even just a bigger grip on it would have kind of balanced that out. For the price, I mean, let me know. You guys let me know if you think that that's good or not. But kind of if you have like a little mini screwdriver used for prying things, stop it. Get yourself a set of these. If you're using a pick to pry things, stop it. Get yourself a set of these. They should at least be stronger and last longer. I don't know how good these specific ones necessarily are, but we'll give them a... I can already tell you this is stronger than the picks from Icon. And picks aren't designed to be that strong, like... You just tell by the type of metal, the stock it is. This guy feels pretty good again. It's this guy that... I guess it's just got the extra weight from the... That is not what this video is about, though. This is, and we're already 15 minutes into it. I finally went and bought the Walmart knife. This is the Ozark Trail 7.5-inch folding knife. This is probably the revised one by now. 3.25-inch D2 high carbon steel, 4.25-inch injector molded handle. So if you're in a state where carry knives need to be under 3 inches, no bueno. just as a heads up. Or kind of like do that at your own risk. Oh, this clip is beefy. One thing about these, they have more expensive knives just on the shelf on a hook. This looks like it could be on the shelf on a hook. However, this is one of the ones in the cabinet that you have to have and pick out. Part of what we're going to go through in this video is how these are basically disposable. They're not, but effectively. If you're going to go and pick some of these up, make sure I would order it online, one or some of these, and you want to pick them up, I would order them online for pickup. So you don't have to wait for the freaking sporting goods person, then you have to wait for them to, oh, I don't have the keys. Yada, yada, yada. I finally waited. I knew it was going to be a pain in the ass. And they finally, I finally took care of it. Oh, geez. I thought I could just pull this out, but not looking like it. I'm guessing it's just right there. Here, we'll use the knife. It looks a lot like Tactile Knife Co. Maverick. Bet you it pulls out now. No? What? Okay. Do I have to go more? There we go. Okay. Having this, okay, it's not even technically a fair comparison. This is a hundreds of dollar knife, and this is a $10 knife. Just to keep that in context. But this is, like I said, specifically, if you look up orange knife on Walmart, this is the one that's going to come up. It's always $10. If you see one that's like $40 or something, it's actually not that one. I think, technically speaking, the $40 one might be worse. This does have D2 high carbon steel, so that was a big thing about this. China made, but D2 steel. The fact that that is in a $10 knife is insane. Pretty insane. This now stamped D2. Apparently that's where, like, apparently they changed, like, the molding of the plastic. It changed colors, like, a little bit darker of a color. I think it used to be closer to that or something. But now it's stamped D2, whereas originally a lot of the reason why people didn't know it was D2 until somebody tested it, or found something out about it, was because it wasn't marked. Slide lock belt clip, they call it a slide lock. I would call it a crossbar lock. It's also surprising to see that in a $10 knife. Normally they're going to use a liner lock. Ugh. Which even much more expensive knives use. I was actually trying to think of where I put my... There you guys are. Which one do we want to use? Use the Fairway. Apparently, Tactile Knife Co. did come out with a updated. This is their Rockwell thumb stud. You can see there. This is specifically the Tanto blade. That is a liner lock. It's in line, and it is the liner of, I don't know which one it comes from, but it's in line with the blade, and it's actually the liner of the knife scales, effectively, that pops out and holds it in place. I love the feel of the Rockwell thumb stud. It's just very well sized. Apparently there's a Gen 2 of this. Now, I wait until one of the seasonal pens I like is in that design. Also, anything that comes out from Tactile, personally, wait for... You don't want the launch ones. Let's just put it that way, okay? Also, multi-$100 knife. Let's grab some that are like more reasonable. Actually, I happen to have one somewhat more reasonable. So these are, you know, here we got my nice Maverick. This G10 scale on here. Just feels super quality in the hand because it is. This is my kind of like everyday use one. I wouldn't say everyday carry because I tend to not carry a, I'll carry like a TUKK. And then we got the fat carbon fiber one that I, in purple haze. This is the one that's always on my desk. Right now, it's on, both are on this desk because I only have one. Now this, I believe it's ball bearing. Oh, so it locks shut. It's got, no, it's just really hard. Okay. So the other ones, I thought it locked shut at first because of, there's a lot of restriction, and it kind of just flies. I would probably do it the same way I do the Maverick, which is, you can do it this way. There is no lock on this one, per se. Like, it just, but normally I just pull the crossbar back and like that. If you do that with the, I mean, it can work. It seems to be like a little spring loaded. God, this feels so cheap. It is a $10 knife. Do we have any? There is play here. Left and right. There's no play this way, which is the important way, like back and forward. Maybe a little bit, but like inconsequential. And this sort of play, that's because it's bearings. Like if you see it, it just drops. I believe there's bearings in there. In here, a lot of people actually gave crap to Tactile Turn for not using bearings. But bearings are a cheap way out because then you can just clamp this as tight as you want because the bearing is holding the load, not the, like there might be some bushings in there, like brass, like spacers effectively. But once you use these a little bit, they break in. That's a much smoother feel than this. Like this is almost like jumpy. Okay, like, hey, gotta remember, $10. It is literally like a 30th of that. Something a bit more in this range that I've picked up is this is the G Slip from Real Steel. This has a VG10, still Chinese-made VG10. So people are like, ah, is it really a VG10? But I like this guy's design. O-Stop Heel design. That I saw on somebody's everyday carry, and I'm like, that is a steak knife. I need that knife. And then I found out they also made their UK compliant kitchen knife, which is the everyday carry one, which actually costs more, from what I recall, even though it's smaller. And I don't know if it's because it's done in a smaller batch or what. But this one is just below the 3 inches. Like there's actually like a millimeter that is just below, because like it's the law in most of these places is less than 3 inches for blade length. So I want to say these are relative, like they don't have a lock, which this does, right? They're just slip joint, which means they just kind of slip in. Also, something that always freaks me and other people out is usually these lock like that, right? Whereas the ones of this design always lock at like a 2/3 rather than like a halfway like that. So the micarta is very grippy, and this is natural G10 that I picked it up because I really liked how that looked. Was originally gonna get one of these in it, but like why get two of the same knife? But we got our steak knife with the micarta. That looks like wooden handled steak knife that you'd use it like when you're camping in a camper. It's got that vibe to it. There was even someone commenting that that's how they use it. Keep that sharp, I'm sure, and clean. I'm sure you could. And this one, they also went a lot thinner on the everyday carry one. So, I don't remember what. Let's look up G slip knife. The small guy, $40. The big guy, $63. Oh yeah, I got a big discount on the other one. Let's just say somewhere between $40 and $80 for those. So like they're closer to this, but they're still. Now I think VG10 is better than D2 if I recall correctly, but for a knife this cheap, the fact that it is anything better than like the shittiest metal, is kind of amazing. Like this thing is cheap. But that's why it's useful, because though it's cheap, it's actually a fairly good knife, right? Especially for the money. I think the handle size is at least for my hand, like I'm right at the maximum. If you have bigger hands than me, this might be a bit small for you, but in my hand it is pretty close to being there. I do like the little bit more room that you get on the Maverick. The blade is just a hair longer. And maybe that's just because I'm used to this now. You know, it's a hair thinner, but it feels sturdier. I mean, it should for the cash. But I mean, this has like some people say like, oh, it's got to be a little drop like that. You know, it sure can. I just thought I'd finally pick up the Walmart $10 knife. If you need to use a knife, like not a utility blade, because those are cheap, you can, you know, like just use them and throw them out. That's literally what they're designed to do. But what I mean is like you can put them in scenarios where like you might break a tip off. You know you're really gonna wear it out really fast. Sometimes having a knife for certain things, especially like scraping in something, like using this side for scraping, or prying, where you need a knife to do the prying, you know, sometimes you need a knife that you can it's like a throwaway, if you want to call it that, or one you don't care about as much. One thing I do find interesting, if you look at the blade shape, is that this doesn't go to the tip. It's slightly above the tip, because normally I feel like this would be in line. Maybe not directly in line, but it does have that classic taper here. And on older knives, you would actually see this upper part sharpened, because it would be sharpened on both sides. You don't see that nowadays for, I don't want to say like safety reasons, but there's like laws and stuff about that being double-sided knives and stuff like that. But that's why it tapers here. And that sort of coming to the point where it thins on both sides and goes to that point, that's very good for putting in to something, if that makes sense. You know, see, whereas these don't have that sort of, it's thick up here and then it goes down there. I am a fan of a drop point knife. See, even here you kind of have a similar take, but you know, not as severe. Whereas this is much more this way. Whereas this starts getting into the shape, you know, like with a piercing, closer to a piercing style. Yeah, like with how this latches, it's definitely like spring assisted. Right? So in closing, you got to kind of help it. Whereas there's no assist in this, which actually feels smoother in my opinion. But so this would be the other one that I would say is more of a commodity knife. This one says it's the SOG Trident. It is very spring assisted to like the point where you cock it, right? And there's a lock there. And you got a big wire cutter. This is like a very tactical one. I think this has been on some of the other videos before. I didn't buy this. I got it. And it got wrecked. Sent it to SOG. They have a $15, I think, to sharpen it cost. You know, like if you want them to sharpen it. I was like, yeah, sure. You know, because basically it had a big nick. Somebody, I think I wasn't ever told, right? I think somebody tried cutting wire with this and not like cord or strapping, but like wire. And it left a big old fat nick in there. So I contacted SOG and I was like, hey, I'll send you out for sharpening. They said it was, see, this is what you don't want in this sort of liner lock like this. This one is different because it's like spring loaded, right? But do you see this? That's not played this way. There is some of that too. But the play this way. And you can see this has very much has that same sort of, this is in line with the tip or nearly. Doesn't taper on this end, but this is more of a tanto blade, they would call it. These can be very useful because you have this edge right here for cutting things open. So you don't always have to use the tip. Like you can use this to do scoring, right? And you can use this edge for scraping, right? Like that sort of thing. And you have a big flat for stuff you need to do with that. But yeah, that's not necessarily confidence inspiring. Now I've used this thing over the years for many things that I don't want to use the good blades for. Now this at least was, I think, somewhere around a $100 knife when it was new. Look that up once. SOG knife repair. It was a SOG Trident Tanto is what this was. So, yep, it says SOG Trident. I don't believe they have the non-Tanto Tridents anymore. So that's why it just says Trident on there. Basically, they said the and it's an assisted open knife. Still $100. It's fine. Looks like they have the non-Tanto version back now, and I can't find. Here, SOG Trident Tanto. Here, let me show you over here. SOG Trident Tanto. Read it 10 years ago. That'll give you a breakdown of how old that is. And my email to them was 2017 about fixing it. So, yeah, that should tell you about how old this model is. At least when I got it fixed, they only had the Tanto variant. Now it looks like they're back to only having the non-Tanto variant. Stuff goes in and out of fashion. It's a fine knife. SOG makes a fine knife. Their support, actually, really good. Yeah, it says, thanks for contacting. Send it in. I shipped it Friday. Will do. Received a new knife today. Blah, blah, blah. Does have sentimental value on the form. Okay, so I said it was 15. Apparently it was $25. And they even warned me beforehand, even when talking, because I sent them pictures of where it was at, and they're like, we'll try and sharpen it out, but if we can't, we'll send you a new knife. So $25 got me a whole new knife after somebody did something dumb with it. And this has kind of been the knife that I do things that you don't want the good knives to do, you know, and stuff where it's like you need a blade of this length that you wouldn't get even if you had a utility knife fully extended, like you had the full blade exposed on a utility knife, still wouldn't be as wide as that. Or like I've used this part as a scraper before when kneading. I've literally, like, this is probably the knife I most use like you would proper, you know, if you see people like looks like mistreating knives or when they're testing them for doing bushcrafting and that sort of stuff. It looks like abuse, and they are testing it, but like theoretically a knife of the cost that they're testing should be able to do stuff like that. Oh, by the way, true deep carry pocket clip on this. See, it goes up past it. You know, these are fair, like that would be considered a deep carry nowadays because it goes up to it. But like this is what back like originally deep carry meant, is like you're carrying it deep, like past the top of the. Now, like I said, that would be traditionally would be a deep carry because it goes up to the top of the device, or to, like device, knife, whatever. This compared to this SOG even feels like a toy. Oh, hold on. With how spring, like this is true. Like, there you go. This is truly spring assisted though. Like it, like, you know, like snaps out. There's like a leaf spring down in there. You know, this thing feels substantial. You can also use this probably like a seatbelt cutter, depending on what you're doing. I have no idea what sort of. Some of you out there that are more into knives can probably tell me what kind of a steel this has. But oh, for example, too, these have what was the hottest, or one of the hottest steels, which is the Magna Cut on them. There are some that are up to there. I think the Magna Cut, the manufacturer that like went bankrupt of the actual like steel went bankrupt. Like I said though, the I know the VG10 is highly sought after. The D2 steel that's on here though is, I think even for like the $40 range of knives, is like a good steel. Might even be a good steel up into the $80 range. I'm sure you can get better steel up there. But once again, yeah, now this handle is feeling a little short after having that SOG in hand. Because my hand kind of goes all the way to the grip here. So if you have a bigger hand than me, I don't have tape measure. Oh, no, I do have tape measure. We've done this before. But if you have a bigger hand than me, you might not want that as a main knife. But we've kind of had this discussion before. We're already at 40 minutes. Oh, geez. To the wrist there, what is that, 7.5? 7 3/4. for the length of the grip. You'll have to convert that for metric. But why is this interesting? Because it's $10. So you can't fly with your knife, right? Let me flip this around to me. So you can't fly with your knife. I can't fly with my knife. They get grumpy when I fly with one of these without a blade in. So I stopped doing that. Well, also I'm worried about losing a TUKK because they're not cheap. So I do fly with a EAB, Gerber EAB, no blade. They still pull me to the side. That's it. That's mildly annoying. I have like a little card in my wallet that is a multi-tool that you can specifically fly with because it does not have a blade on it. The YouTuber that made that specific one or picked that specific one to put their brand on specifically chose that one because a lot of them have blades on them and you cannot fly with that. And I still get stopped because they assume it's one of those that has a blade and it doesn't have it. And I'm like, yep, it's fine. And they're like, yeah, it is. You know. But if you're a person that likes to have a knife and you're going to be someplace where you think you're going to want a knife, this knife right here, this Ozark Trail Walmart $10 knife with D2 steel that does feel a little bit like a toy, might be your solution. Pick up one of these at a Walmart because there's Walmarts frickin' everywhere, and set it up for like a pickup. You go in the store, you pick it up. They'll also ship these. It's $10. Ship it to where you're going to be staying, right? You have a knife. And you're like, yeah, but what do I do with it before I leave? I'm sure you have friends or coworkers or whatever that is wherever you're going, or somebody you're staying with, or even like say you got to know the front reception guy. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's somebody that you meet on your vacation or travels or whatever you're doing that could use a good knife. I have done this with other products that I have bought that would have been a pain to fly home with or that I just didn't need because I had them once I got home. I've left them with friends and been like, hey, saw you could have used a new mouse. Here you go. Boom. Because I had to buy this while I was here, and I literally have no need for it when I come home. Same thing here. It's $10. You spend $10, you get your knife, you don't have to care about it. Then when you're done, if you still have it, you hand it off to somebody. Dunzo. Next trip, you buy another one. People used to do that with $30 or $40 knives, which I thought was kind of crazy, personally. But this being this quality, for this amount of money, and now that we're away from this being the latest hot shit, even my rinky-dink place had like 9 of them in stock. Now, the reason why I'm saying you might want to ship it or do it for pickup is because you gotta wait on sporting goods, and that took a while for me. I would just do a pickup one, which means they're gonna have it sitting ready and waiting for you. It is not very sharp, but it is knife. It's also bright orange. This is probably going to be our garage knife where we literally don't have to care about it. Or if a buddy's like, oh, I don't have a knife, I'll just be like, here, have it. Psh, go buy another one. Like sometimes there's like the friends that like you tell them like, oh yeah, just use a Phillips 2 screwdriver. They don't have one. I literally just throw them one, and then not one of my good ones. They don't get my fellow one. They'll get like a Stanley I still have. Or something like that. Like you'll get free ones and kits and shit. Don't throw those out. Give them to friends that need them, because there are people, you probably have coworkers, friends, possibly family, that don't have basic things like a utility knife, Phillips thing, tie wraps. The number of things that helps with is crazy. So if I find out and I'm like, oh, you don't have, here, take this one, This is also the one I'd probably bring, like, if I was going to an event where I was worried about losing it. You know, take this. You just buy another one. It very much feels like when they say injection molded plastic, that is injection molded plastic. It is quite nicely textured, but it definitely feels that way. The finish on the edges of the metal is not nice at all. It doesn't feel great to use, but it is a $10 knife with a crossbar lock, I think ball bearings, or at least bushings. I think ball bearings, though, and D2 steel. You know, like, you can't be too grumpy. Like, think about it. This with that costs the same as this. Or even, because I actually did see them at Walmart, they make the bigger one with the quick change one on there. That's more of a utility knife. That's in the EAB line that they sell at Walmart as well. That is also like $10. So, you know, grab the orange handle one of those and this guy and the orange handle that. You are set for a trip where you need this sort of stuff, where you can't, like, have a knife come with you, right? That's kind of how I look at them, right? And then give them to your local contact that you have, or the person you're staying with, or whatever. I'm sure they can use a knife that has a blade, but that is not sharp. I know I have calloused thumb on that one, but like that catches immediately. I'm not gonna say it's razor sharp out of the box. In fact, I have some sticky notes over here that we can try and do the paper test with. I have like 2 I was writing on. Here's a utility blade. Ba-ba-ba. Perfect. Totally, just nearly stabbed myself. But here, utility blade, no problem. It's a pretty fresh one on there anyway. But this guy, $10 D2 steel knife. Yeah. Remember how I said it wasn't that sharp? We had to tear that comparatively. Right. Here, we'll just use one of these, one of the VG10s. Not as nice as the utility blade, but it's not tearing it like the, you know, if you want to see a dull one, here's my QB knife. QB, this is my letter opener. This uses 14C28N. I think that's not great. Like, it's fine, is the definition of that. This one has been sharpened once. I really need to do it again because I didn't get it very well. I would argue this thing, not sharpened very well, probably better than this out of the box. Like, this got a lot sharper when I did it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would say don't expect a lot of sharpness out of this. The QB knife, which I think needs another, you can even see in the light that like it's not evenly done. I was thinking about giving it to Frozen Slate because he got one of those work sharps and seeing if he can do his magic on that once he's got a handle on it. Because like I can see like different, because I have like one of those ones with the bar that you go psh, psh, psh with. Doing it again the second time a lot more helped a lot, but I really need to probably do that again on it to really get it good. I would say out of the box, this thing did not come that sharp, and it dulled pretty quickly, which is a downside of these lower end steels, is they do dull fairly quickly. And I also had not sharpened knives in a while, because I really don't give a shit about this one. And I tend to use utility blades. I don't have to sharpen because sharpening knives is annoying. So I didn't really have. This time I wrote down like what I should be doing with at least the kit I do have, and it got decently sharp. At least got sharper than this out of the box, which is good, maybe. I think this guy was like $80, but you're paying for the Kydex holster with the clippy guy, which I plan to replace with something that I can have on the side of my desk, so I can pull this out and do like the boxings we did today for you once I get it sharp enough. And to me, it really looked like a classic letter opener, like you'd find in like my grandpa's desk, where I got a bunch of like lighters from him, pocket knives, that sort of stuff. I feel like that looked a lot like a letter opener he would have, except it's a jabby, stabby, slicey, slicey. So picked it like this is purely a looks thing. Well, guys, let me know. Would you have use for a crossbar locked D2 steel $10 knife you don't have to give a shit about? If you use this at home, you know, and I'm sure I've seen videos of it too. People, because it's D2 steel, you can spend more time on it and make it sharper, make it better, and it will retain it for longer than knives that cost more money. It just doesn't necessarily ship that way out of the box. Like I said, this is probably going to, especially with the orange handle, going to be, and it's a little smaller grip. My mom uses a lot of stuff in the garage when she's out there. Might be good for her in that way. And I don't have to care about it too. You know, I just thought I would finally take a look, because when these were first getting announced and coming out, because Walmart will use their stock at one store to ship out for another store, despite me living in a location that is not very densely populated, wiped out for months. And then at least when I go, there's never anybody in sporting goods to ask. And this time I finally spent the time. So yeah, would you pick this thing up for $10? I'd say I'd at least give it a try if I were you. Especially if you have things where, you know, kind of like how I've been using this guy, is when you don't want to use your good knife, but you need to use a knife. So, SOG, you gotta pull it back and cock it. But hey, can't fault them for the warranty, you know what I mean? I heard you can get a bunch of their products at, I think Costco sells them fairly often. I heard people saying, which is, you know, interesting. Yeah, questions, comments down below. Which of the knives in this video would you pick up, and would you spend the money on this cheapie here? I'm sure just about everybody has a use for it, and when you're traveling, like almost any trade, or even like, you know, IT work, having a knife is useful, right? And if you're used to carrying one, maybe this is a good way to get a cheap one for a trip. Hopefully we'll see you in the next video. As always, have a good one. Peace.